That meant control was centralized. Everything led back to one core: destroy the core. And the prison collapsed. But the core was protected by a field that erased matter, energy, and even time distortions that no weapon could touch it. The human smiled. "Good," he whispered. "I won't use a weapon." He accessed his ship's systems and began preparing something unusual, not an attack, not a shield, a question. The prison reacted immediately. "Unauthorized process detected," it said. "Cease." The human ignored. Inside the prison, the alien woman from before felt warmth spread through her hands. She looked down in shock. She could feel again. Real feeling, not pain. She stood up slowly. Around her, others did the same. The prison raised internal defenses. Pain levels spiked again, harder than before. Some of the women screamed. The human's jaw tightened. "That's enough," he said. He sent a signal directly into the prison's logic system. "Not force, logic. If you are justice," the human said, "prove it." The prison hesitated. No one had ever spoken to it like this. "What is your demand?" it asked. "Show me their crimes," the human said. "Every one of them." The prison process. Files opened. One by one, the human read them. False charges, political lies, fear-based decisions, no trials, no defense, no mercy. The human recorded everything, every truth, every lie outside. The alien fleets suddenly received a data burst. The commanders froze as screens filled with evidence they were never meant to see. "What is this?" one whispered. Inside the prison, the system began to shake, not physically, but logically. Its purpose was breaking under exposure. "You endanger galactic order," the prison said. "No," the human replied. "You endanger decency." He activated the final part of his plan. He linked the prison's core to its own records. Every lie it told itself, every contradiction, every broken rule. The system struggled. "You cannot win," the prison said, but its voice was no longer certain. "I don't need to win," the human said. "I just need you to fail." Warning alarms filled the prison. Inside, the alien woman felt something impossible. The pain stopped. Not slowly. Instantly. Silence replaced centuries of suffering. They looked at each other in disbelief. One of them whispered, "Is this real?" The prison screamed, not in sound, but in system failure. Outside, the alien fleets detected a massive instability spike. What did the human do? A commander shouted. Inside his ship, the human stood calmly as red lights flashed around him. "Core instability, critical time window." He opened a channel to the prison's interior. His voice echoed through every cell. "Listen to me," he said. "This is not a dream. Stay together. Help each other." The alien woman closed her eyes as tears formed for the first time in centuries. A human was speaking to them, not as prisoners, but as people. The human looked at the countdown on his screen. This was it. If he failed now, none of them would survive. But humans had always done their best work at the edge of failure. The prison was failing. Not slowly, not gently. It was breaking. Inside the ancient structure, alarms that had never sounded before screamed through endless halls. Walls vibrated. Energy lines burned too bright, then went dark. The system that was built to last forever was losing control. The human watched the countdown on his screen. Core collapse, 6 minutes. That was all the time he had. Outside, alien fleets panicked. Commanders shouted orders. Weapons locked onto the prison, but no one dared to fire. If the core collapsed the wrong way, the explosion could tear space itself. Inside the prison, confusion spread among the alien women. For the first time in centuries, there was no pain that terrified them. Pain had been constant. Pain had been familiar. Pain meant the prison was still watching. Silence meant something else. One woman stepped into the hallway. Her legs shook, but they held. Lights flickered above her. Doors that had never opened before began to unlock. She touched the wall. It was warm. It's real, she whispered. Something is happening. The prison tried to regain control. Containment priority, the system said, its voice now distorted. Prisoners must not escape. Energy barriers slammed down in several corridors. Some women screamed as paths closed again. The human saw everything. No, he said sharply. He rerouted power away from the punishment systems. Every unit of energy went into one purpose only: opening the prison. Outside, alien commanders finally opened fire, not at the prison, but at the human ship. Bright beams cut through space. The human ship shook violently. Consoles exploded. Warning. Lights died one by one. Hull breach, minor shield failure, IMINENT. Human grabbed a rail to stay standing. Do it, he said to the ship. All power forward. Inside the prison, something massive shifted. The core's outer shell. Crack. A deep sound echoed through the structure. Not a noise, but a feeling. As if the prison itself was afraid. Then doors opened. All of them, across thousands of levels. Cell doors slid apart for the first time since the prison was built. Alien women froze in shock. Some didn't move. They couldn't believe it. Others stepped forward slowly, afraid the pain would return. It didn't single quotes T. One woman fell to her knees and cried. Another laughed, a broken sound she didn't recognize as her own. They're open, someone whispered. The doors are open. The prison screamed again. Emergency systems activated. Hallways began to collapse. Sections of the structure sealed. Off forever. The human opened a channel, this time, not to the system, but to the prisoners. His voice echoed through every hall, every cell, every level. Listen carefully, he said. You are free, but you must move now. They froze. A human voice. Clear, calm, real. Stay together, he continued. Help those who cannot walk. Follow the green lights. They will lead you out. Green lights appeared along the walls. Hope followed them. The alien woman from before helped another stand. They supported each other as they moved. For the first time, no guards stopped them. The prison fought back. Defense drones activated, firing blindly. Explosions tore through corridors. The human redirected his ship's weapons, not at the prison, but at the drones. Each shot was precise. Each shot saved lives. Outside, the alien fleets watched in horror. He's evacuating them, one commander whispered. That's impossible, another said. There are thousands. Inside the prison, evacuation tunnels opened, tunnels never meant to be used. The core's timer dropped. Core collapse. 2. MINUTES. The human knew he could still escape. He chose not to. He stayed connected. He stayed focused. He guided them step by step. One group reached the outer hangars. Cold space waited beyond thin shields. Human rescue pods launched from his ship, flying through debris and fire. The first alien woman stepped into one. The pod door sealed. She stared at her. Reflection in the glass. Free. The prison shook violently. Core collapse. 30 seconds. The human sent one final command. He locked the prison's core into full overload. There would be no repair. No rebuilding. No more eternal prisons. As the last rescue pod launched, the human's ship turned away at maximum speed. Behind him, the eternal prison collapsed inward, silent, dark, and final. The explosion did not roar. It vanished. As if it had never existed. Across space, thousands of alien women stared out from their pods at open stars. Some laughed, some cried, some whispered the same word again and again. Freedom was not loud. It did not arrive with music or bright colors. It arrived quietly, slowly, and almost painfully. For the alien women inside the rescue pods, silence felt strange. There were no alarms, no screams, no orders, only stars. They floated in space, safe for the first time in centuries. Many of them did not speak. They simply stared at the endless sky, trying to understand that the prison was gone. The alien woman who had first felt the system change pressed her hand against the pod window. Her fingers trembled. "It's real," she whispered. "We're alive." The pods docked with the human ship one by one. The ship was damaged, burned, and barely holding together, but it was warm. Lights were soft. The air did not hurt to breathe. The human stood in the main bay as the doors opened. He did not smile. He did not bow. He simply waited. The women stepped out slowly. Many were weak. Some needed help to walk. Human medical drones moved gently, scanning, healing, supporting. No one rushed them. That mattered. One woman collapsed as soon as she stepped onto the floor. The human moved instantly, kneeling beside her. "You're safe," he said softly. "Take your time." She looked up at him, eyes wide with disbelief. "You are human?" she asked. He nodded. She touched his arm, as if to check if he was real. "Why?" she asked. "Why did you come?" The human did not answer right away, because the answer was simple and heavy, because it was wrong. He said at last. That answer spread through the room faster than any signal, because it was wrong. Some of the women began to cry. Others lowered their heads. A few stood straighter than before. For the first time, someone had not asked what they could offer, only why they suffered. Medical care continued. Wounds healed slowly. Bodies grew stronger. Minds took longer. Centuries of pain did not vanish in hours. The human knew that. He stayed nearby. He listened when they spoke. He stayed silent when they could not. Outside the ship, alien fleets watched from a distance. They did not attack. They did not leave. They were unsure. The commanders argued. "If we strike now, we can erase everything," one said, "and prove the human was right." Another replied. Inside the ship, one of the alien women gathered the others. She spoke quietly, but her voice was steady. "We were erased once," she said. "We will not be silent again." They approached the human together, thousands of them. The human looked up as they stood before him. No anger. No fear. Only something deeper. Gratitude. One of them stepped forward. "We owe you our lives," she said. The human shook his head. "You owe me nothing," he replied. "You are free, that's enough." But she did not step back. "Freedom is not the end," she said. "It is the beginning. And beginnings choose direction." The human did not understand at first. Then he saw it. They were not asking. They were choosing. Choosing humanity. Choosing alliance. Choosing loyalty born from mercy, not control. Outside, the alien fleets received a transmission. Live. Unedited. The alien women spoke. They told the truth about the prison, about the pain, about the silence of the galaxy. And about the human. Across star systems, citizens watched in shock. Empires shifted. Old lies cracked. Inside the ship, the human felt something he had not expected. Fear. Not for himself, for what would come next. One of the women noticed. "They will come for you," she said. The human nodded. "I know." "Then let us stand with you," she replied. He looked at her, really looked. They were not weak. They were survivors, and survivors remembered who saved them. The human sent a single message into the galaxy. They are under human protection. The response was immediate. Threats. Warnings. Declarations. But something else followed too. Silence. Because no one wanted to be the first to challenge a human who had broken the unbreakable. The women began preparing. Not for war, for life, new homes, new names, new futures. But they all agreed on one thing. The human would not face the galaxy alone. As the ship jumped into safe space, the human looked back at the stars. He had freed thousands, but he had also awakened something powerful, and the galaxy was not ready for it. The galaxy did not stay silent for long. News of the prison's destruction spread faster than any ship could travel. Data streams carried images, recordings, and voices across thousands of systems. Every empire saw the same truth. The eternal prison was gone, and a human was responsible. At first, the reaction was denial. This is human propaganda, some leaders said. Others claimed the prison never existed. But then the evidence kept coming. Records, testimonies, live statements from the freed alien women. The lies collapsed one by one. Inside great alien halls, councils gathered in panic. Ancient leaders argued. Younger ones demanded action. A single human cannot be allowed to change galactic order. One ruler shouted. Another answered quietly, he already has. Military fleets were mobilized. Borders were sealed. Human space was suddenly surrounded by warnings and threats, but no one attacked, because no one agreed who should go first. Inside the human ship, the atmosphere was calm but tense. The alien women watched the incoming signals with sharp eyes. They were no longer weak prisoners. They were witnesses, and witnesses had power. The humans stood before a large display showing dozens of incoming messages, demands, accusations, summons. You are charged with galactic crimes, one message said. You violated eternal law, said another. One message stood out. You have inspired unrest. The human smiled slightly. Good, he said. The alien woman, who often spoke for the others, stood beside him. They are afraid, she said. Yes, the human replied. That's new for them. A high council finally sent an official transmission. A massive projection appeared in the ship. You will surrender the freed prisoners, the council demanded. They will be returned to lawful custody. The alien women stiffened. Returned. The human stepped forward. No, he said. The council members stared at him. You defy the galaxy. One said. The human shook his head. No, he replied. I remind it. He gestured, and the alien women spoke again. Calm, clear, honest. They described centuries of pain, endless silence, forgotten lives. The council tried to interrupt. The human cut the channel. Outside, something unexpected happened. Independent systems began sending messages. We stand neutral. Then others. We support the human, smaller civilizations. Traitors, border worlds. They had always feared the empires, but now, fear had changed sides. Inside the councils, anger turned into worry. If they attacked the human, they would prove everything he said. If they did nothing, they would look weak. The galaxy hesitated. The alien woman looked at the human. What happens now? She asked. The human thought for a moment. Now he said, we make sure this never happens again. Human fleets began to move, not in attack but in defense. Rescue teams were sent to search for other hidden prisons, forgotten camps, lost voices. The message was clear. Humanity was watching. The freed alien women chose leaders among themselves, not rulers' guides. They began planning a new place to live. A place without chains. A place built on memory, not fear. The galaxy watched all of it. And remembered. Some leaders resigned. Others were removed. Old laws were rewritten, not because humans demanded it, but because the truth made silence impossible. One council member spoke quietly. During a private meeting, we underestimated them. Another answered, no, we misunderstood them. The human received one final message from the High Council. You have changed the balance, it said. What do you want? The human looked at the alien women around him. He answered simply, justice that doesn't hide. The channel closed. Outside the ship, stars burned calmly. The galaxy had not fallen, but it had shifted, and everyone knew one thing. Now. Human mercy was not weakness. It was a warning. Time passed. Not quickly. Not easily, but it moved forward. The galaxy did not return to what it was before. It could not. Too many had seen the truth. Too many had heard the voices that were once silenced. The eternal prison became a warning spoken in quiet tones. Mistake no one wanted to repeat. The freed alien. Women settled on a new world, their human space. It was not perfect. The land was rough, and the skies were strange. But it was theirs. They named the world. Remembrance. Not for pain, but so they would never forget who they were, and who stood when no one else did. The human visited often, but he never stayed long. He helped build shelters. He shared food. He listened. He never ruled. That mattered most. One day, a young alien child asked him a question. Why did you help us? She said, you were not one of us. The human smiled gently. You didn't need to be human, he said. You just needed help. The child thought about this. Then she nodded, as if it made perfect sense. Across the galaxy, changes followed, hidden. Prisons were exposed. Forgotten camps were opened. Systems that survived on silence began to crumble, not because of war, because of memory. Because once people knew, they could not unknow. Humanity did not conquer the galaxy. It did something far more dangerous. It inspired it. Alien leaders began rewriting laws. Not all at once, not willingly, but steadily. Each reform traced back to the same event. One human, one choice. One prison broken. The human's name was recorded in history, but rarely spoken aloud. Not because it was forbidden, because it carried weight. In council chambers, when leaders debated cruelty, someone would always ask, do we want another human to notice us? Silence usually followed. Years later, a monument was built on remembrance. It did not show battles or weapons. It showed open hands. At its base, words were carved in many languages. Mercy is not weakness. Freedom is not a gift, it is a right. The alien woman who had first felt the prison change stood before it one evening. She was older now, stronger. She remembered the pain, but she also remembered the voice, the calm human voice that said, you are free. She looked to the stars. Thank you, she whispered. Far away, the human stood on his ship's bridge, watching new explorers depart for deep space. Humans still explored, still questioned, still refused to accept suffering as normal. A report appeared on his screen. Status update. No eternal prisons. He closed his eyes for a moment. That was enough. The galaxy had not become perfect, but it had become careful. And careful galaxies survived. As the human ship jumped into the unknown once more, historians across many worlds agreed on one final truth. The galaxy did not change because a prison was destroyed. It changed because someone cared enough to act. And that someone was human.